have my Thermofax screen and my silk charmeuse fabric. I just have a lovely grass design on my Thermofax screen. You'll be able to see it better once I start printing fabric with it. I have my squeegee, and the dye that I'm printing with is Quebracho Red. It's a natural dye that's a wood dye derivative. It comes from the Quebracho tree. It's from South America. And I've mixed this with gum tragacanth, and it's fairly thick, so you can see, like a really thick rubber cement. It's important to blend this really well and get all of the lumps out of the gum tragacanth so that you get a nice even printing. I have some duct tape on the back side of this. Theoretically, my well should be deeper on this piece, on this screen. And this is just silk charmeuse fabric that has been pre-mordant with alum. Sometimes you need a spatula to assist in these things. It's best to put your dyes into the well in the end, not just dump it out onto the middle of your screen, but I tend to be more of a serendipitous dyer and surface designer and kind of live for those happy accidents and even the not so happy accidents that I could turn into something really unique. I didn't tape my fabric down. The reason being is as my fabric shifts, my pattern shifts, and I want to be able to have a more organic feel. So I'm just going to move my screen around onto my fabric. It's best when screen printing or painting with the natural dyes and you're using a binder such as the gum tragacanth to make your dye extracts probably about 3 to 5 times darker than you think you really need to get the actual color that you want on your fabric. This color here is going to come out as a very, very pale coral color. Quebracho Red has some very definitive orange tones. Also, it makes a difference in how many times you go back and forth on the screen with your squeegee. But there comes a point where you get the binder too thick onto your fabric and then it just crocks off. So that has to be taken into consideration when doing the screen printing process. Always keep a rag handy. There's happy accidents and then there's not so happy accidents. That's an okay happy accident in my book. There are some really excellent books and videotapes in existence on the market on screen printing, and I highly recommend, if you want to learn about perfecting the art of screen printing, to acquire one of those books or several of those books. I have a bibliography and you can look those up. I really feel no need to reinvent the wheel, and therefore teaching you the method that I use to create cloth. What I'm going to do with this fabric, believe it or not, once this is cured and dried and has been washed and rinsed, is I'm actually going to compost dye over this fabric. You might wonder why would she go to all that trouble to screen print this and create an actual pattern, a semi-quasi-repeat pattern at that, just to turn around and compost dye over this. Well, believe it or not, when I do the compost dyeing, there's going to be thick and thin areas of color. And what will happen is in those thin areas, some of the pattern is going to reveal itself. And we have a picture of that in the gallery. And you can see how this does this. So I'm just going to pull this down here like this. And I'm going to screen print this area here. And then when this dries, I'm going to come back in. And actually I will probably fill these voids in with another color entirely. I have half a mind to use some Quebracho Black, which will give me a nice charcoal color with blue tones. And then I will cure my fabric, compost dye it, cure it, wash it, compost dye it, put it through the batching process, which is to allow it to sit from anywhere from a week to 4 weeks depending on my heat and humidity. Cure the fabric, that's where you unwrap the fabric bundle, let it air out for a few days in a non-sunny area, and then wash it. And it's the washing process, that's that final process that reveals how much of this pattern is in existence. I will probably also, actually before I compost dye this, screen print another design over the top of this, and that's before I even wash the fabric. The gum tragacanth, as it hardens on the fabric, actually acts like a glue and acts as a resist. And I want to use that to my advantage to screen print another image on top of this so that I have that secondary image broken up by the resist of these colors here, because it's laying on the bottom, so it will act as a resist to whatever's put on top of it, and it'll have an even more organic, more fun appearance to it. Anyway, that's what I do, and that's how I do it. It's a lot of fun, a lot of experimentation, and there really is no right or wrong way to do this.